People look at Kenny Kunene and myself. They see Lamborghinis. They see nice houses. They see Louis Vuitton labels. But what they don't see is our beginning. The newspapers has been carrying 44 times the same story. We got bonuses of 5 million. Who must get those bonuses? Yes, it was actually 6 million. But what they do not understand is that I decide my worth. They said I was paid 225,000 a month. That is, I don't work for anything less than that. If you want me to do work for you, I want 225,000 a month. You can say no. Then I walk.
Yes.
And if I say yes, don't you come and criticize me if you don't know what I'm doing and you look at my salary. Because what I'm doing, if God has to look at my salary for the things I'm doing, you will cry. They're underpaying this man. Because when I work, I work. And I want to say to young people, they want instant coffee, instant noodles, instant riches. It doesn't work like that. I started selling fish. Then he started selling chickens with me. Fish and chickens. That's how we started. Out of the boot of a car, selling chickens, buying fish in Cape Town, selling it in Joburg. Buying fish for 10 rand, selling it for 50 bucks here. I had a small warehouse that they don't know about with Kenny. We had a small fridge. You start with where you are at the moment. People come to me, gee, we need funding for 2 million. He doesn't even look like 20 rands himself, but he wants me to give him 2 million. People, they want to start on the 5th floor. Take the lift, take the stairs. There's lessons on the stairs. So I'm saying to people, don't look at me like this. There was times when I had no food. When I came out of jail, I didn't have a bed to sleep on. My mother was a pensioner, my father was a pensioner. And the best gift I ever got in my life was a bed that my father bought me. But I didn't give up. I went from school to school to school to school. And when I couldn't go to schools further because I didn't have taxi money, I went to a place called the Rotary. They gave me 3,000 rands. That 3,000 took me to do other schools out of the Free State. Last week, they must watch So What.
Yes.
They must just watch So What in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Last week, I went to take a serious check there to tell them I'm not a beggar. I came for help you and you helped me. Today, I'm paying back. Here's a check. I had tears in my eyes because they helped me with the 3,000. And I went back and I said, let me sign a bigger check than that what you gave me. Because I wouldn't have come here if I didn't need that money. So my message to young people out there, stop looking for funding. Work with what you got. Sell the TV. And buy sweets packet and start somewhere. But no, this tender thing has made us all crazy. Because when they see a black man being successful, they think he's a tender. I've never received a tender in my life. Kenny has never received a tender. I don't even know how to go about getting a tender. Because everybody's going the tender route. I wanted to go another route. So I say to young people, if you are so clever, why are you so planless? You come and tell me how clever you are. Make your plan, start small.
It wasn't easy, and the ambition of what we were taught at school, we were never taught that we should change the economy. The system taught us to be either a worker or a social worker, a policeman, the general worker. The system never taught us to be empower us. You know, they taught us that we need to be empowered. Blacks should realize their strength because, interestingly enough, you know, the money is with the whites, but the economy is within the blacks. So, but if they don't realize that they have the economy, they can't have the money because they don't realize what they have. So they need to start thinking amongst themselves, empowering themselves.
I wanted to prove the gangsters because Alexandra, it's difficult to grow in Alexandra. The influence, the lifestyle, is the system, is the legacy, is the inheritance from generation to generation, even now. So to break that cycle and become a different person, it's war. So I find a space when I was in prison because I was alone. I introspect myself, ask myself questions. Who am I? I wanted my identity. So in prison, because I never give up for who am I know I'm talented. In prison, after all the tests, surviving gangsters, I've survived. I'm a warrior, I'm a soldier. I I know prison is a very bad place. Everybody thinks when you come from prison, you've been sodomized or forcibly involved in gangsterism. Me, I'm one of the guys who have survived those things because I grew up not having a brother or an uncle or a father. So I was all in one. I was young, but I was old at the same time. Then I decided, no, let me go back from when I was young. Because when I was young, in church, that's why I find my talent of acting. I find it in church, under the leadership of Mary Griffin at Ruval Baptist Church. Whenever there was a play, you will say, Israel, you can make it. Say, you can make it. And I didn't like to be an actor by then because actors are poor. So I write 4 scenes, but before I write, I said to him, I want to write something that will make us never come back here. Okay, I can see your feeling. But what I want to do is something that will open doors and it will change their mindset and then will save a lot of people, more especially the young people who admire criminals or prisoners as heroes. I'm a dreamer at the same time. I have a gift, a special gift. Things that I'm going to do, I dreamed them before. I dreamt being a superstar after deciding to change. Then I told the inmates, we were watching TV in the kitchen. I was watching Izo 1. See Ronnie Nyakaras, Christopher Kubega, Misha Mavuso, etc. I said, these guys, they need me. I'm the next Izo star. The president said, this one, you're wrong, Who do you think you are? I just felt it. No, this thing follows me. I've got fame, I've got power.
No, man. Myself and Casper had a conversation. WHP came through to my radio show. I think Casper was 17 years old. And he said he wanted to get into the hip-hop scene, but was dropping out of high school. And I said to him, yo, hip-hop isn't making a lot of money at the moment. You're trying to drop out of high school. What are you going to do differently? That's what the conversation was, you know what I'm saying? So it was never a negative conversation. I'd never ever tried and discourage someone to not follow their dreams because you never know how things might turn out, you know what I'm saying? As long as people are putting in the work, anything's possible. I mean, like dropping out of varsity, which is what I am. I'm a varsity dropout is one thing, but I can always go back to varsity. But when you drop out of high school, it's another thing, because I mean, like, you stand at 8 and you're 50. It's a different ball game, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Now, some are alive today, reaping some of those fruits, you know, living in nice houses and stuff and getting all the credit. But basically, you know, a lot of brothers had to die so that, you know, the white carpet had to be turned red so that some of us can walk on it very comfortably, you know. And Bantu Stephen Biko's blood is one of the very few bloods that had to dye that carpet from white to red. That's you and I walk on the red carpet, Vandaag, as black liberated people. Understand? The idea is to get more and more black people into now getting the grasp of the land, so that, you know, the more we're into business structures, then the more the country grows with the vision here in Yabotaki, understand? Because until we get a hold of Iran, we're still oppressed, unfortunately. You know what I'm saying? Fanamachita Kila every day, they can see in Tabatibov, they know there's gold there, but they can never see it really. You know, they get them a pain and stuff. That's how South Africa is. Basically, all being here is very important. And one thing South Africa is not forgot to teach about Soweto or anywhere in the country is the whole issue of being patriots in our country. We know far all about the flag. We don't know really much about our history. We know a lot about Cecil John Rhodes, the guys who came to South Africa, the white department. We know a lot about European history. So taking charge and knowing our history is good. Got a letter some time back from this girl. I don't know the rest of the letter, whether there's EBGB stuff still happening there, but what she said to me was, Zola, what you are is a gift from God, and what you become is a gift to God. Sure. That's what she said to me, and those words really touched me. She gave me a lot of problems in her letter, and I relate to them. Like all of you. I actually slept in a shed for a couple of years. During the days of struggle, I was passed from one place to another because we came from a rather politically active family. But all of that have made me everything that I am. And I'm telling you, Machita, now that if you believe in everything that you want to do, whether in Uli or anything, whether if you wake up and do what my grandma told me, walk tall even though you're hungry, and go to school and get your education, you will get somewhere, I promise you. We not here Kosa said the back. I quote you, and I think they come from a man called John Phillips. He says, the future is not some place we're headed, but one we're creating. The road to it is not found, but made, and the activities of making it changes both the maker and the destination. Basically, the ball is in your court.
I can't explain. I can't explain what really happened. What attracted me to music. It was just that thing that I loved. And I discovered very early that I couldn't sing, which was the most weird thing. Because people sometimes get drawn to music when they can play an instrument, when they can sing. I just knew that I want to be involved in this thing. Then the DJing thing came. Then I was interested in production. But even then, I couldn't really produce. But I was like, I want to be involved in this thing, against all odds. And that's how I got in. I just never stopped. Anything that had to do with music in my neighborhood, in school, in church, I was in just to be involved and learn.
And for young people coming up the same kind of trajectory that you are, what do you think are the difficulties that they're having to deal with now?
It's self-belief. People are so afraid to fail. That means you won't move. And not just young people. We have a very terrible past as a country. And we were told we were this. And for so many decades we believed that. And that is the past. But it has affected so many people. So you live in an environment where everyone else was painted with one brush. You can't be anything else. This is your color. But you have this kid who is just so positive and think, no, I'm not that color. I'm so many different ones. But the grain he's growing against is much stronger because everyone is like, dude, calm down. This is who you are. Stop dreaming. And it affects the younger generation. And the younger generation doesn't have belief in themselves because the older generation was told and they believed that they couldn't achieve anything. So if anything, that's what I would love, the young people to know, or the people of this country, to believe in themselves more, to love themselves more. Because I believe if you love yourself enough, you want the best for yourself. I think we should get to a point where we restructure our education totally before we can get to even fees must fall. I think this is one of my biggest ultimate dreams, is to get into a level where I create a school. And I'm working on one now, like a music college, because with studying music, I realized even the best students at my college where I studied, they don't have jobs. That's my worry. My worry is, when are we going to change the education system? When are we going to start teaching people how to be able to self-sustain themselves and start businesses and steer them to the direction of their passion? I think we are in a position now as a country where we need to understand how unique we are and how different we are to the world. And I think we need to start thinking that way and be bold enough to create platforms or institutions that work for us, not just follow what everyone is doing.
Am I a spender or an investor? I'm both. If you're an investor and you don't spend, then you don't have a clue of why you are making money. Money is there to be spent. There's no vaults at the graveyard. My parents made me understand the importance of working for your money, not expecting anyone to give you handouts. That's why I never even got excited about tenders, because sometimes they are just handouts. I'm more successful than any guy whose first break was 100 million rands tender. My success doesn't come from a phone call to sign a paper and you have 20 million in your account. I'm not a tenderpreneur, I'm a hustler. Most people talk about the Mail and Guardian. When I told people yesterday, the other day, that I was going to have an interview with you, Bongani Madondo, everybody said to me, don't. You see me, bro, I've got nothing to hide. If I've made a mistake, I'll tell you that I've made a mistake. But my life, in as far as I'm concerned, is so clean. I don't have anything to hide. All these CEOs, these MDs, all these moralists that are criticizing Kenny Kunene, if you can get an opportunity, if 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, if the sun can shine and the walls fall and all of us can see what's happening in the world, my brother, my brother, you will be shocked at what people do when it's dark behind closed doors. The difference between me and them is I keep it real. I am who I am. So everything that I'm saying to you now, go and do your homework. Let the Mail and Guardian go and do their homework. Let them come back and say to me, and please, don't just come back. If you find that there's nothing nasty to write about, don't shut up.
This is what before Bulamulom, I look at you.
Yeah.
People, they'll come for a job, they look very nice.
The standard drops.
Garden boy more.
Yeah. Standard drops.
The standard drops.
To those that are at their lowest right now, what do they need to do to achieve their dreams and success?
There's a 4-letter word. It's not love. It's hope. Hope in the unseen. Tibos, most people start at zero. I didn't start at zero. Kenny didn't start at zero. We started at -0 because we had a criminal record. You can't get a job with a criminal record.
Yeah.
We come from jail, so we had to start from -0. But because we were insulted by people, we were called Mapantit, we were called ex-prisoners. We are still being called dead today. But what I did not know, that's my greatest motivation. When you call me dead, you actually show me how great I am. Because with that label, to have achieved what I'm achieving. So my message to anybody that's listening, if your man has left you, good riddance. If your woman has left you, good riddance. There's something, hope got something better out there for you. If you have no money, you need to sit still and be honest with yourself. People party the whole night, but they want to work the whole night. What is that? You need to be serious.
Kwaito, I mean, became the youth culture, in South Africa after the death of apartheid and the release of Nelson Mandela. So therefore, I mean, this is when the young people, we started creating, our own sound. And that music became what is now known as Kwaito. So I was one of the pioneers of that genre.
So how does Kwaito as a sound, how is it different from anything else that people were listening to in South Africa before?
Well, I mean, that time, before, I mean, we used to have, stuff, it was more of disco, and also there used to be a lot of political, songs, because that time, it was, fighting,
very politically charged,
and also, I mean, fighting the apartheid government. And then when, that was over, Nelson Mandela got released, we, as the youth of that time, started, to come up with songs which were not political, which didn't have, we're not talking things which were related to politics, but things which were now affecting our communities, as young black people. And then from there, we started putting them, lyrically on, then from there, started doing our own sound, and that's how Kwaito became massive.
So I like the way it infuses almost a house, it's actually a house music with all of these different other South African sounds into this beautiful new thing. And it's not just popular in South Africa now, it's popular around the world.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fusion of, different genres. House, you could get dancehall into it, you could get soulful stuff into it. And then from there, I mean, we fused everything, and that's how we came up with the sound.
But you're also a new kind of artist, which is you're not just a singer or a performer, you're a DJ. So, is this where music is heading? Where you don't have to be a performer in the strict sense of the word to have an audience, to be a superstar?
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, I started as a DJ. From DJing, I started producing. Then from producing, I started also performing. Therefore, I mean, these days, the trend is that even when you're a DJ, you need to be out there, to start performing. And even when you're a producer, you know, you want to be there to be seen, because this is what's happening. It's a worldwide trend, actually, so that, you know, the record sales are not that great anymore.
Right.
So therefore, if you're a producer, you're also forced to go out there so that you can do gigs.
Because now you see huge global superstars, DJ Khaled, for instance.
Yeah.
And there are many other people like that around the world. And you're just thinking, did I sleep, and when I woke up, this whole trend had broken out?
Yeah, I mean, it's been there underground, but right now, I think even guys who are producers, they just want to be seen and say, listen, because long back, artists used to get, you're going to find that, you know, it's them who are on the forefront.
Yes.
But these days, we're seeing a trend where even a guy who's a producer, DJ, he wants to be up there, up front.
Mm-hmm.